We have a lot of unique homes here in the tri-state. Queen Anne, Art Deco, even a mushroom house. But have you ever heard of an Italianate style house? Well, there's one on the market right now, and it's right next door to the Cincinnati Observatory.
We've lived in this house since 1996. The house really has a fascinating history. It goes back to the time that John Kilgore, who was a real estate developer and later became the principal of Cincinnati Bell Telephone Company when it was originally founded, he gave the land on which we're located to the Cincinnati Observatory when it moved from Mount Adams out to Mount Lookout. And right next to the campus, he developed the land that was subdivided, which included the lot on which this house was built in 1878. And we bought it in 1996. And since we've lived here, we've done a complete renovation when we first bought the house, and then a substantial addition in the room we're now sitting, the sunroom.
Over the years, we've found, particularly in the early years, people would say, Observatory Place, what is that? Where is that? There are many observatory streets around the neighborhood, but Observatory Place is right next to the country's oldest operating observatory. But this house is just a great house. It's been a wonderful home. The neighborhood, there are only 8 houses on this street. It's very family friendly. It's a cul-de-sac, so there are kids on bikes and dogs, and it's an embracing community.
The house had been vacant for 3 years before we bought it. So it was in need of a lot of work. It had no insulation at the time. We put insulation in the house. We put central air conditioning in the house. We did a whole bunch of stuff that made it really a livable, wonderful spot. One of the things that this house has as a characteristic is that it has a lot of passageways. And as Lynn suggested, that we did entertain quite extensively, had parties with literally hundreds of people. And the passageways allowed people to have circulation through the house as opposed to coming into a room and to a dead end.
And backing out, you can just take a complete circle around the whole first floor. The biggest thing we did in doing the renovation and the addition is try to make sure that the house looked as if it was intended to have the same angles and appearance from outside, which is also important because this street is part of the historic district. So we have to go through any changes through the city of Cincinnati. And I think people looking at this house from the observatory under the dome, looking through the telescope, will look at it and say, wow, what a great house. And, you know, is all of that original? And we can tell them the story when we see them. Well, I think it would be someone that appreciates not only the history, but the modern and contemporary life they would have here in the house. That's how we did all of our work inside the house, is to respect the Victorian part of it, but have it ideal for our type of life. That person, we assume, would be similar to the way we were when we bought the house. Professionals that might have need and occasion to entertain, would like to have a place that feels like you're situated right next to a park.
And I'll just add, though, is that the person needs to have a dog. Because the observatory is a fantastic place for a dog to roam around. And
in fact, our dog is right here, just resting before she goes out to run around.